And Yulia, maybe you want to start your recording as well. I don't quite know how it works. Yes, great. Thank you. Спасибо большое. Привет, привет, как дела? So if you could receive anything from this call, what would it be? And you may answer here, or you may answer in the chat, and maybe Yulia can translate that. And also, and if you have any questions, you can either raise your hand and then ask your question, and it will be translated if you don't speak English. And otherwise, you can just write it in the chat, and then Yulia can translate your question. And I will answer you anything that you could receive from today. What would that be? And also, don't be scared of asking questions, because there's no such thing as silly questions. There's just silly people that don't want to ask questions. And if you get a question, you think, oh God, I can't ask that, then maybe you're so aware that you're preceding somebody else wanting to ask that question. So please do ask it, because you'll do that person a big favor. I just could do something here. English, English, English. Here. There. Zoom just asked me to confirm what language I was speaking in. And of course, I selected Hindi. Joke. That was a joke. Cool.
Right.
So let's start with the call. And please make sure that you're muted when we're going through this. And there, make sure that you have your microphone muted unless you're actually asking a question. But before asking a question, please raise your hand so that we know that you have a question to ask. Okay? Cool. I'll try not to keep it too long, so as not to take away too much of your time. But the topic of today is how to find your perfect man. So how many of you ladies are actually desiring to find your perfect man, your Prince Charming, that will come and sweep you off your feet and will provide for you the rest of your life? And I would really like this chat to be a chat and not me talking at you, but talking with you. And all these calls and classes and whatever I do is actually based, oh, good, we have a question. They're actually based on your questions that create the energy of the call. Otherwise, it's just my energy, but it's much, much better if we all contribute to this. So, yes. Let's see, who do we have? You may unmute yourself if you would like to. Здравствуйте.
Не понимаю, можно говорить? Меня слышно, да? Нет?
Юля?
Да, слышно.
Ага. Я хотела спросить, Андреа, как не найти идеальные отношения, а как сделать идеальные отношения с тем уже, кто есть? Вот вроде все хорошо, я понимаю, что человеку надо медленнее, быстро, как вообще, как говорить?
Ты сможешь перевести, пожалуйста, нам вопрос?
Да, я смогу перевести. One moment.
Yes.
Можете еще раз, пожалуйста, повторить свой вопрос?
Как уже в отношениях сделать их идеальными? Вот так.
Okay. What if I'm already in a relationship? So how to make it perfect in this situation? So how can I change it?
I knew somebody would ask that question. So everybody were trying to reshape, remold, and reprogram your man. Can we please destroy and uncreate at all times a gazillion before I answer that question? Right, wrong, good, bad, popo, hornacious, boys, pros, and beyonds. What I see, what I have seen in my 61 years of life on this planet, is that very often women will find and choose a man because they think he's wonderful, because he's so different from everybody else. He's so different from anything that they know. And then bit by bit, they try and change this little thing and that little thing and that little thing and that little thing and the other little thing. And after a while, they realize that they've turned this man into somebody else that they are not. And quite the opposite very often to why they actually chose this man for being so different. And they're trying to make him look identical to many other men. And very often it's actually very similar to their father. Oh, wow. And everything that brought up, can we please destroy and create it all times a good sin? Right, wrong, good, bad, purple, nations, boys, and beyonds. So, and it's something related to control. How much are you trying to control your husband or boyfriend or enjoyable other, as we may say, into becoming something that you expect him to be, rather than somebody that is so different, and that's exactly why you adore him, or you started adoring him in the beginning, and maybe you don't anymore because he's not perfect according to this reality and according to your expectations and according to how your father is, or somebody else, some other man that has this ideal figure in front of you, maybe from the movies as well. So everything that doesn't allow you to be totally out of control, out of definition, out of linearity, out of concentricities, out of computation, and out of anything that doesn't allow you to have total allowance for your man to be who he is, to be who he be. Can we please destroy and uncreate it all the times to consider? Right, wrong, good, bad, purple, poor, nice, for perverts and beyond. So, truth. Did you choose your man because he was so different from everybody else in the beginning?
Да.
Right. So what stopped you from choosing him for being just that, even now?
Ну, мне хорошо с ним, но вот этот вот контроль, я не могу его отпустить. Мне кажется, если я его отпущу, то все развалится, рухнет, и что его надо все время как бы держать так вот в ежовых рукавицах.
So I feel like I can go like out of control. All the time I have to hold him. I have to control him. Otherwise, everything will destroy.
Oh, that's an interesting point of view. What would happen if you allowed him to be himself?
Да, в принципе, наверное, ничего. Я не пробовала.
I think nothing. I don't know. I've never tried.
Well, how about not trying, but actually allowing him to be who he is? Because if he's not being himself, how can you love somebody that is not themselves? Then you're loving somebody else. If you're trying to change your man to somebody else that he is not, you will maybe, and probably not, fall in love with somebody that doesn't exist. The first thing in relationships is actually allowance.
Да.
Yeah, an allowance for yourself as well. So if you are in a relationship, can you please give up trying to reshape and remold your man and actually going to ask yourself why you fell in love with this man from the beginning and receive those qualities and what you've decided are defects and faults and negative things about this man, and actually receiving all of it as the unicity of this person. The greatest gift that we are on this planet is actually us being us and being unique. So to fall in love again with your man, you will have to let go of control. You will have to let go of control. Does that
Это
sound
так
like
легко сказать. Но кажется, интересная точка зрения, что так нелегко сделать.
It's easy to say that, but it seems like not so easy to do it.
It's just a choice.
Это просто выбор.
You're just a controlling
Ты просто
woman. That's all.
ты контролируешь это все.
Да, я контролирую, и я когда, ну, перестаю это делать, я прям начинаю себя как бы сжирать, как будто бы вот у меня внутри такая борьба у меня происходит, что типа, ну позвони, спроси, ну там заплатил ли он там эти, у нас просто бизнес общий, и вот, ну как бы, а он гуманоид прям стопроцентный, он за все везде хватается, но судя по тому, что у нас все процветает, наверное, все идет хорошо, поэтому мне, наверное, с собой все-таки, да, надо, а не с ним что-то делать.
So even when I try not to control him, I have this voice in my head like maybe you should call him, maybe you should control him a little bit because like they have a business and he is like total humanoid and he likes do a lot of stuff and the one moment like this and this and probably he like does everything correct because our business is thriving and yes probably I have to work with myself.
Probably, yes. And if it's a total humanoid and the business is thriving, how much more money can you receive with his way of being a humanoid and with actually allowing him to follow what he knows rather than being controlled what you think you know better than him? So everywhere you go into the knowing better than him, can we please destroy and create at all times a Godzilla? Right, wrong, good, bad, purple, nations, boys, pros, and beyonds. You're lucky enough to have found a humanoid. Let him run. Let him be. Why are you trying to tame him, to make him like a house pet that does everything you say, rather than you receiving the gift that he is? You don't have any problems. The only problem is your control. And it's not even a problem. It's just what it is. And you can choose something different. It's just a choice. It's just a choice.
Да, спасибо.
Пожалуйста. And I knew something like this would show up in the very beginning of the call because I see you ladies, and I'm saying you Russian ladies, that are so potent. You are actually the most potent women on the planet that I have ever met. You're potent, you're powerful, you're beautiful, beautiful according to this reality and beautiful in a lot of other ways that are not according to this reality. And you're trying to make yourself smaller by trying to look like each other, which, I mean, the beautiful thing about Russian people is that there's so much diversity in how people look. And every single person that I see is so beautiful here. The women in Russia are the most beautiful women on the planet. They're the most potent women on the planet that I have ever met. They're the most powerful. And the thing is that what I see with Russian women is that you try and find your perfect man so that he will provide for you the rest of your life with money, especially, and gifts and houses and cars and whatever else it is. And by doing that, you're removing your power, your potency, and your capacity of creating your own money. You're giving all your power to your man that you're then trying to control to be somebody else, to not be himself, because otherwise he would also be potent and powerful. And that would be terrible for a couple, for both of them to be powerful and potent and beautiful. That would be awful, wouldn't it? Right. So everything that doesn't allow you to be the potency, the power, the beauty, the creativity, the money that you truly be, can we please destroy and create all times of goods in it? Right, wrong, good, bad, purple, nations, boys, brothers, and beyond. And I get it. I know that you have this thing, and that's so. It's not just Russian women that do this, because Italian women are pretty much the same, but they do it in a sneakier way. They try and pretend, Italian women try and pretend not to control their men, but to provide for their men with good food and a nice home and taking care of all these things that a woman is supposed to do, which is also bullshit. And that way they get to actually rule the house. Italian women are the actual ones that choose and decide everything in the household, but they make it in a sneaky way, making the man think that he's him that's doing all these things and he's just inspired by his woman, when in actual fact, if he doesn't do as his woman says, well, he's a dead meat, basically. But she presents it in a soft way. Russian women, no, the softness is kind of removed from there. And it's like, if you don't provide for me, you're out of this place. If you don't give me all your money, then you're out of this place. And if you don't do as I say, you're dead. So what does that do? That cuts off your man's balls. And that's not so nice, cutting off your man's balls, because then he would not be manly anymore. He would not be as potent and powerful and beautiful and unique as the man that you chose the very first day that you fell in love with him. So allow him to be the stallion. And actually, you can call him that. I don't know if he translates well in Russian, but you can call him, instead of saying, hey, darling, or whatever, say, hey, my stallion. I mean, you know, and then what will he do? Maybe he'll provide even more for you. Maybe he'll surprise you a little bit more. Maybe he'll be exactly what you've been asking for without your control, but with your sweet and soft manipulation. Hello, my stallion. Oh, you're looking good today. You want compliments? We want compliments too, for God's sake. Everything that Baroque, can we please destroy and create it all times a gazillion. Right, wrong, good, bad, for poor nations, boys, both and beyonds. How are you ladies doing?
У нас есть вопрос в чате. Юль, переведи, пожалуйста. Я могу тебя прочитать, чтобы тебе было удобнее.
Я сейчас прочитаю. Секундочку. What questions could I ask to meet my ideal, or not ideal, just a man? I asked different questions, but still there is a silence.
Yes. So
I want to buy. I'd like to add someone, like some foreign guy.
okay, so wherever you go into definitions, you're actually limiting your choices, because what you're doing is that when you ask something, when you have a desire of something or someone in this case, you're putting out an energy to the universe, and the universe will always provide you. And it will always provide with exactly what is required for you to make your life greater. But if you go into the definitions, I want a foreign man, you're actually defining it to this small, when the universe maybe is showing you this much of the energy that you're looking for, but you're not receiving it because it does not match your vision. So everywhere you go into the definition of your vision, the limits you're receiving from the greatness of the universe can be easily destroyed and created all times a gazillion. Right and wrong, good and bad, all nice, boys, perverts, and beyonds. I'll give you an example. You're saying that I would like to meet a foreign man, and maybe you've met a lot of Russian guys that are sweet, that in your eyes don't count because they don't have that amount of money that you're desiring from the man, or the looks, or whatever it is. But these men that the universe keeps on presenting to you more and more and more and more of, you don't see them because they are the so-called no counts. Now, if you want to know about the winners, losers, and no counts, I have a class coming up in Sochi very, very soon where we talk a lot about that. And the thing that you want to look at is actually looking more for the no counts rather than the winners or the losers. The no counts are those men that you don't even consider having a relationship with. And those men usually are actually the sweetest, kindest, and most caring men you could ever meet. Ouch. So how many men have you been refusing that could actually be the kindness and the sweetness and the caring that you could be choosing? And everything that is, can we please destroy and create it all times a gazillion? Right and wrong, good and bad, put, all nine, boys, perverts, and beyonds. How are you ladies doing? And it's really this thing about you ladies actually being so potent, and you're using your potency against you by being controlling. Because rather than being potent and creating your life and being in allowance of your man creating his life, and both of you together to create your life together, you're actually trying to cut his balls off and do as you say, and not as you do very often. It's like, do as I say and don't do as I do. Ouch. Rather than actually not having a relationship, but having a creationship. And also, I'll be talking a lot more about that in the foundation class in Sochi. And I get that this foundation class is going to be kind of focused on relationships, although it's not a relationships class, but it does talk a lot about relationships. And relationships, in actual fact, is not just with people. A relationship is also with your business, it's with your creations, it's with your body, it's with a lot of different things. And for me, the foundation class is great because it's actually a class that you take for yourself. You know, you take a bars class for creating a business, to earn money by running bars, to gift bars to your friends and family, or all these other things that are related to other people. But the foundation, we actually choose it when we are ready to actually create a different life with ourselves, with our partners, with our businesses, and with every single layer of our lives. So whatever you do, don't choose that. But I've shared already a couple of tools here of the foundation, like a little peek of the winners, losers, and no counts. And the winners are normally these people that we look at that we think are the best, and like the best looking guy in the class, or whatever, you know, when you were in school, the most good looking guy in the class, and he's popular with everybody. He's the winner, and he's probably going to be totally unkind to you. He's probably going to be an asshole towards you. The losers are, you know, these guys that always get into trouble. They don't have the money, and they're like whatever. And a lot of women are attracted to that because those are the bad boys that a lot of women are attracted to. And well, they're more focused on themselves, and probably they're not going to be kind to you either, because they're not being kind to themselves. The no counts, like I said before, are these people that you don't even consider having a relationship with, that most probably will be gifting you with everything you desire in life. And relating to the money, you know, it's like I said before, it's the typical thing of Russian women to demand of their men that they provide everything for them, including all their money. That actually limits you from actually receiving money through your own business, creating your own wealth, creating your own money. So everything doesn't allow you to be the provider in your household, rather than expecting your man to be the provider in the household. Can we please destroy and create at all times a Godzilla? Right, Rob, goodbye, pop, all nice boys, poets, and beyonds. Because if you are willing to be the provider in the household, that means that you're not eliminating the power of your man to actually create his own money and create a big wealth as well. So both of you will be creating a lot of money together in the relationship. And maybe doing that is not a good idea, because you would end up being super rich as a family. So don't do it. And also, when you're going to a relationship, when you are in a relationship or choosing a new relationship, you have to ask different questions. And this is also before you actually sleep with a man the first time. And also keep asking these questions every time you have sex with your man. So will he be kind? Will he be grateful? Will I learn something? And there was another one. And then it's also, and will he give me money? And the will he give me money is not necessarily will he give me cash, will he just fill up my bank account, or all these things. What if you have a great business going for you, and he's actually not going to give you cash, but he's going to take care of you and the household in terms of doing all the cleaning, doing all the dishes, and cooking for you, and going shopping for you, and doing all these things, so that you have all the time and space for you to create your own money. So you see, when you try and define something as what money actually is, and there's another great class called How to Become Money, and rather a workshop, book club called that, and Yulia and I just finished doing one not that long ago. It's the thing is that money can be, it's not just cash. Money is actually, like I just said, somebody contributing to our life and living that enables us to create more cash in our lives. So it's not linear in the way that you think. Do we have any more questions, either in the chat or people wanting to raise their hands and ask questions?
Юль, там есть несколько вопросов в чате.
Do we
So
have?
now, yes,
Yes,
I
okay,
will
cool.
read from the chat.
Fantastic, yes, please.
Pum, 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 pum. Маша, точно есть еще вопрос? А, в чате ты имеешь в виду в зуме?
Да.
Вижу. How to keep lightness or easiness in the relationship?
Allowance. You have to be in allowance. Allowance doesn't mean being a doormat, by the way. Allowance is not letting somebody walk all over you. That is not allowance. Allowance is allowing your man to be who he is, and with all his defects and all his funkiness and whatever it is, as long as he's not being an asshole to you. If he's being an asshole to you, then maybe it's time to be really potent and show your potency. And that's when anger is actually justified and saying, hey, this does not work for me. You being an asshole to me does not work for me. Okay? And also being in no point of view and not being invested in what this relationship is going to look like. As long as it's kind, caring, and you have to look at the 5 elements of intimacy. I'm not going to go into that today, but the 5 elements of intimacy is something that actually create a perfect relationship, or a great, not perfect, but great. If you're looking for perfect, perfect does not exist. What there is, what perfect is for me, is something that actually works for me. That might not work for you and probably will not work for anybody else either. Because my relationship with Yulia, I don't think that many people would actually last half a day in our type of relationship. Because we choose to be brutally honest with each other, no matter what shows up. And there's a lot of insanity that comes out of both of our mouths very often. And then we start by saying, hey, you're probably going to get pissed off with me for saying this, but this is what's going up in my world right now. And we say whatever is going on. And that sometimes and often creates an argument or a very animous discussion, because there's a lot of energy that is being brought up. And unless the shit comes up to the surface, you will be at the effect of the shit until you bring it up to the surface. So you have to be grateful for when these discussions come up. And there's a difference between an argument and a discussion. An argument is where you're just going like this and it just doesn't go anywhere. You're just fighting against each other. No, what a discussion is, in fact, is bringing up an energy that brings up another energy, and you both feel like shit for a while, but you're actually not doing this. You're doing this together and mixing the shit in order to show up, and you can look at it clearly and go like, wow. And very often what this results in is that whoever brought up the argument is looking at it going like, wow, have I been functioning like this? This is completely fucking insane. It's now the time to change this. And that's when the relationship grows. What you have to look for is a relationship that keeps growing, where you're both contributing to each other to actually become greater and greater and greater every single day, and changing every single day. And that's when you have to go away from the perfection of the definition of what relationship is for you or what your perfect man is for you, and actually ask for a man that will keep changing just as you keep changing, and that will allow you to keep changing just as he will allow you to keep changing every single day. And honestly, we have access to all the energies in the world. And another thing that I will be talking about in the foundation class is just this, because sometimes we choose these energies, well, very often in this reality, we choose these energies by creating different images of ourselves in order to fit in or in order to fight people in this reality. I'll give an example. You put on a different mask depending who you have in front of you. So with your family, you have a certain mask. With your friends, you have another mask. With your boss, you have another mask. With your clients, you have another mask. And these are called images. And images are something that we use, the masks that we use in order to fit in. And sometimes we will use this mask in order to fight. So I'll put on the mask of the bitch with somebody, my man maybe. I'll put on the bitch mask because he's not doing what I want him to do. Okay? Rather than creating persona, there's a difference between persona and image. And creating persona creates way greater because it's not based on automatic response. It's actually based on choice. And every fraction of a second, we have choice of choosing a different energy that will create something greater in your life. Does that make sense?
There are questions in the chat, Andrea. Would you like me to translate them for you?
Sure. I mean, Yulia was just translating them as well. So whoever, I'm receiving
can
translations.
translate.
Thank you.
I'm available now.
Okay.
How to stop saving the man and stop hoping that he will change?
He will never change. Or if you allow him to, he will change every fraction of a second. As I've been saying during this call, allowance is number one key to a great relationship. Allow him to be who he is, and allow him especially to be the man that you first met, with whom you fell in love with, because he was so different. And especially if you chose a humanoid, congratulations to you. Then you really have probably an X-Man as well, that is a great and potent creator, and allow him to be that. So again, the conversation from the beginning of this call about control. Everything doesn't allow you to be totally out of control, out of linearity, out of concentricities, out of definitions, and out of computation. Can we please destroy and create at all times a gazillion? Right, wrong, good, bad, proportionals, boys, perverts, and beyonds. Did that answer your question? I hope so. If not, please let me know. Can we take another question?
Yeah, there is another question. So Andrea, could you please say something that we are married, everything is generally good, but when husband has some tension at his work, he start to use alcohol, and this makes relationship worse. What to do when you love someone, but you are not in allowance with alcohol?
Very good question. Thank you for that. And that's when you get to the point of actually having a conversation with your man about what does not work for you. Gary Douglas, who is a brilliant man and great friend of mine, he says that in a relationship, you have 8 points, 8 levels of things that don't work for you. And also there's a great question from the foundation class that is packed with really brilliant tools. And one of these tools is what to ask when something like this, for instance, what is this? What can I do with this? Can I change it? And if so, how can I change it? And if you can change it, then ask the universe, please show me how I can change this. And that will show up. And don't expect it to show up the way you think it will show up, because the universe will present it probably in a different way. But if it really doesn't work for you, you have to have a conversation with your man and saying, hey, this really doesn't work for me. You using alcohol in order to abuse me verbally or otherwise does not work. If you have problems at work, I totally get it, but you have to solve those problems at work for yourself. I can be here, I can be a contribution for you, but if you start using alcohol to push all the shit onto me, that does not work. And you have to be firm with that. You have to be firm. That is one of those things that could actually be a deal breaker. A deal breaker is something that is so huge that for you really doesn't work to continue creating a relationship with. And even if you don't have these 8 levels, so sorry, backtrack to the 8 levels or 8 points rather. When you have 8 things that really do not work for you in a relationship and that you cannot change and that are not being changed, then it's time to open a bottle of champagne and say goodbye to your man and the relationship. Until 8 points, you have something that, you have to keep using questions and using ways of being in allowance of that, but without being a doormat. Like I said, allowance is not being a doormat. If something really doesn't work for you, ask and talk to your man, talk with your man, and look at how you can actually change that situation. And if it's not being changed so that both are happy, then it's one of these points. And when you reach a deal breaker is when you have something that is so huge that is actually making your life a misery by being in this relationship and having this thing that cannot be changed, and maybe it's time to say goodbye as well. So ask a few questions, and the questions are, what is this? What can I do with this? Can I change it? And if so, how can I change it? And also talk to your husband or man or boyfriend or whoever he is and just say, hey, this is not working for me. If you keep on doing this, we seriously have an issue. Okay? Does that answer your question?
Could you tell more about 8 points? Because there is question in the chat. What are exactly 8 points that you're talking about?
It could be 8 different things. Like one thing is your man does not lift the toilet seat when he goes peeing. Okay? That could be 1 point. But that is 1 point that can actually be dealt with in different ways. You can talk to your man and say, hey, can you please lift the toilet seat if you're going to pee standing up? And he might get it, and most probably he will not get it. A lot of men don't lift the toilet seat. God knows why, but they don't do that. And then next person comes in the toilet and is completely wet and disgusting. So hopefully your man will understand that, and he will start lifting the toilet seat and cleaning up after him. If he doesn't do that, if he still doesn't do that, then there are other ways of dealing with it. So know that he will never change with that. So have 2 separate toilets, hopefully at home, and say, this is your toilet, this is my toilet. With your toilet, you do whatever you want and you clean it for yourself. I'm not cleaning your toilet. And this is my toilet and you do not go in there. That's one way of dealing with it, for instance. Okay? There's different ways of dealing with it. So this is one of the 8 points, one of the possible potential 8 points. Another one is that, I don't know, your man never gives you massages and you love being massaged. That's another point. You can talk to your man saying, hey, can we do a massage class together so we learn how to do massages on each other? That's one possibility. Another possibility is to say, hey, I'm going to get a massage today. And you choose to go to get your massages whenever you want. Not necessarily by your man, but you choose it. So there's, that's also another one of the points that is there. You're not receiving massage from your man. Okay, fine. Can you live with that? Yeah, because you can go somewhere else and get a massage done and your body will feel happy anyway. Okay, so, but it's still 1 point. You would desire that from your man. It remains as a point that you can actually live with because you can go and get your massages done. You can still live with the fact that your man does not lift the toilet seat because you have 2 toilets at home and you've made it clear which one is his toilet. So you have 2 points and you carry on like that. When you have 8 points, you actually ask yourself the question, can I still live with this 8th point? Or is now the time to actually say goodbye? Because having 8 points where I'm trying to find things, I'm going to end up at 20 points and we're still there and whatever. And am I actually trying to change my man? Or has he always been like this? And I'm just starting to see this now. And he's not actually the man that I desire to spend the rest of my life with. Does that make any sense with the 8 points?
I hope they don't. Ребят, выключите себе микрофоны, пожалуйста. There is another question from
Yeah.
Rosalina. It's kind of big one. What to do if you always want to run away from relationship?
Can you tell me more about that, please?
Русалина, может быть, хотите включить
Привет.
микрофон? Да. Мгм.
Да,
Привет.
это был мой вопрос. Дело в том, что я вышла замуж, как около 6 месяцев назад, и каждый месяц мне хочется сбежать из этих отношений.
Mhm. So Rosalina is sharing that around 6 months ago she got married, and every month she wants to run away from this relationship.
Okay, so let's ask the questions together. Truth, what is this? Truth,
Страх близости идет чему-то.
Что идет? Русалин, повтори, пожалуйста. Русалина.
Страх близости, страх
Страх близости.
близости.
Ага. Fear of intimacy.
okay, so is that yours? Truth,
Нет,
right. Then you know what to do. Return to sender with consciousness attached. If it's not yours, it's not relevant. You are so aware of everybody else's points of views, thoughts, feelings, and emotions that you think that they're yours. It's just, if it's not yours, it's not yours. Just return to sender with consciousness attached and keep on enjoying your yummy other. Maybe you're perceiving a lot of,
благодарю.
She said thank you.
Благодарю.
Пожалуйста, пожалуйста. Enjoy your relationship, enjoy being intimate. And it's not you wanting to run away, it's probably you being aware of a lot of people seeing you being intimate and yummy with your husband and thinking, why the hell don't I have that? I want to run away from this relationship. And you think that it's your thought when you just heard somebody else's thought. Don't worry about it. Enjoy. Be even more intimate. Be even more yummy in public. And when people are judging you, you're actually making more money that year. So receive the judgments. Do we have more questions? No, no more questions in the chat.
There is something.
Yeah.
How do you think, is this saying right, where a lot of critics, there is no love?
What do you mean?
I don't know. It's from me, Elena. Elena says that there is this saying where I never heard it, where there is a lot of critics, there is no love. And she's asking you, do you think it's right?
Critics in terms of criticisms?
Yeah.
Well, yes, because criticism is judgment. Do you want to be in a judgmental relationship? Or do you want to be in a relationship with allowance, caring, nurturing? So, and also, what do you define as love? There's so many definitions about love. So one thing that I would recommend when you're getting in a relationship is actually asking your partner what he or she means when they say, I love you. I mean, Yulia and I made this quite clear to each other as well, of like, you know, what is love for me? What is it for me when I say, I love you? And it will be different definitions for everybody. So you have to actually know and learn what your partner means with I love you and what you mean. Ask yourself the question, what actually is love for me? Is it blind faith? Is it blind love that I will take him however he is and will have him forever and ever and ever, amen? Or because doing that is like, if after a while you discover that your husband or your boyfriend or your man in general is being a total asshole to you and is being what's it called, dishonoring of you, then maybe it's not a wise choice to carry on being in that relationship. So you have to be willing to look at things as they are and to be honest with yourself. And yeah, it's such a big conversation, this, about relationships. I hope you realize that through this call, that I would love to continue this conversation also in the foundation class in Sochi. And I really, really would love to invite you to that class, because for me, it changed every time I either receive or participate in or facilitate the foundation class. My life just becomes greater and greater and greater. And I discovered new things about myself and discovered new tools through this class that creates way more for my relationship with myself, my relationship with my body, and my relationship with Yulia in this case, and with my business, and with my health, and with my money, relationships in general. And we have a live question here. Yes. Sveta.
Добрый день.
Добрый день.
Я долго формулировала вопрос, как бы его задать из пространства Access, но получается так, что вот, глядя на вас, Андреа, ощущается большой жизненный опыт, да, и много отношений с женщинами. И то же самое я могу сказать про Юлю. И вот что толкает женщину в отношения, для меня понятно, мне прям голос садится в этом месте. А вот что мужчину, да, уже имевшего такой жизненный опыт отношений, все-таки все равно разворачивает то, что ему нужны эти отношения, да, вот что и лично вас в это вовлекает, в то, чтобы их создавать и создавать на серьезном уровне, да, не просто какие-то там, встречи там раз в месяц.
Give time for translation.
Да не, все нормально. Классный вопрос.
Да, вот. И как бы хочется еще, наверное, немножко, я тут получить мотивацию, потому что вот когда отсутствует, да, вот, то есть перестаешь верить в то, что действительно можешь встретить такого человека. Что вот именно может помочь, потому что, желание есть, да, а вот вера в то, что действительно ты можешь встретить такого человека, она как бы теряется, особенно в какие-то праздничные.
Давай тут две большие такие темы. Давай я первую часть переведу. So the first thing from this question is when she's looking at you, when she's looking at me, she see that we have both of us separately, we have experience with relationship, and you have big life experience. And her question is, what exactly leads you to create new relationship after having all your experiences in life, and especially not like just seeing each other, but really like being together in relationship, being committed in relationship, because she can understand what moves a woman into relationship, but she asked you what moves you as a man into a committed relationship, and there will be another part of the question, but first this.
Okay, well, the thing is that just before I met Yulia, I was going through a divorce, and so was Yulia, by the way. And I had really decided that I did not want any more relationships, and I definitely did not want to be married again for the third time. I was like, marriage does not work, relationships obviously don't work for me, blah, 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 and all these things. But when I started talking with Yulia and we started having, these conversations together, it felt super light to actually not create a relationship with Yulia, but to create a creationship. There's a big difference. A relationship is different. It's the distance between 2 points. And that's what relationships do in this reality. They maintain a comfortable distance. Whereas a creationship is that I'm creating my life, Yulia is creating her life, and together we're creating a family life. And so ask yourself the question, basically, what will this create? Will it create more? Will it create greater to have this person in my life as my partner, as my boyfriend, as partner, as husband, or whatever? Always be in the question. Don't go into conclusion that because you're sleeping with somebody on a regular basis that you're in a relationship with each other, and don't assume that because you're in a relationship with each other that you're going to get married, and don't assume that because you're in a relationship with each other and you're going to get married that he will provide money for you in terms of cash. Basically, don't assume anything. Ask a million questions. Always be in the question. Okay?
And there was another part of this question, which is about how not to lose faith that you will meet such a person.
Well, you will, like I said before, when you put out an energy of desire into the universe will present you with what you actually require, not necessarily what you visualize, and most probably not what you visualize. And you think that what you desire, and you make an image in your head of what this looks like, and if it doesn't show up exactly what you think is going to look like, you disregard it completely. Does that make sense? So basically, put out this energy of what you desire, more in terms of energy. Try, if possible, not to visualize what this money is going to look like, or where it's going to come from, or how much money it's going to have, or whatever, but really ask yourself, what do I desire from a relationship? Do I desire kindness? Do I desire this person having my back? Do I desire this person creating a life actively with me? Where do I want to live? How do I want to live? Do I want to travel? Don't I want to travel? Ask all these questions of what you desire in your life to start with, and then ask yourself, would being in a relationship contribute to this? If so, universe, show me these people. But then when you say, universe, show me these people, the universe will show you a lot of people. You have to be completely vulnerable and being willing to see the no counts, as I spoke about before. Did that answer your question?
Да, спасибо. У меня появилась ясность. Благодарю.
She got clarity. Thank you. Andrea, did you say already at this call, I'm not from the beginning, this thing about men have to be ready to have relationship, to have sex? Did
Yes.
you say it?
So no, I didn't.
Can
So
you say it?
yes, I'll share one more tool from the foundation. And men want to be in a relationship in order to have sex. Women will have sex in order to be in a relationship. And the thing that I got, I think it was yesterday or the day before, and I told you, I said, wow. So if that's so, then how can men and women manipulate each other into actually having what they want? So if women, and now I can't remember exactly as I said it, so if women want to have sex in order to be in a relationship, well, then keep up the sex, the having sex even when you are in a relationship, and don't just use it to get that man in your life. Because if your man is being in a relationship in order to have sex, and then he has sex the first night or the first week or the first month, and then there's no more sex, then yeah, what's going to happen to that relationship? You see what I mean? I hope it makes sense.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Any more questions? Okay,
No
no,
more questions.
no more questions in these 10 seconds. Well, and as you see, the topic of relationships is so huge. I would love to talk to you for way longer about relationships and how to, the one thing that I would actually like to share with you, and I will share that with you, and it's a, like I said before, it's a longer conversation, is how to manipulating the men in your life. Would you like that tool? Would you like those secrets of how
Yes,
to,
yes, yes.
yes, how to use manipulation in order to create a greater relationship with your man, and how to manipulate the right men in your life? I would love to tell you more about this. Would you like to know about it?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes,
We
yes,
have one
yes, 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 yes,
question.
yes. Well,
We
if you
have
are,
one.
yeah,
Sorry, we have one more question, which is for foundation, I guess. What would it take to make real choice? I think I'm choosing, but it doesn't happen. It's from Daria.
yes, thank you, Daria. Thank you so much for this question. It's a big question. It's a very big question. I mean, the foundation is a class that will definitely answer that, and it's 3.5 days of class. And there's also another class called Choice for Possibilities that is all about choosing. Okay, and I will talk a lot more about that in the foundation class, and really about what choice actually is. And the little hint that I will give you is that the choice always comes first. That's all I will say for now. First you choose, and then you will receive. And how you will receive, we'll talk more about that, and how to choose. We'll talk more about that in the foundation class as well.
And also during our program, which will be for the whole
Yes.
year.
Exactly. Yulia and I have a 1-year program that is absolutely amazing. And we'll have your back for a whole year. You'll be able to ask a lot of questions like this during a whole year. And I strongly recommend it. It's like having us in your pocket. How about that? Having tiny Yulia and me, but there are actually big Yulia and me in your pocket. You can just pull them out whenever you want and ask us questions. And yes, that's what we're doing. More information about our program on our social media and on our websites.
Yay.
Yay. And I will be coming to Sochi very, very soon, and to facilitate the foundation. And I hope you will join me. And it's a class that I'm facilitating on my own this time. I don't know, but it showed up that way. And I would love to meet you in person. I would love to answer even more questions that maybe came up during this conversation that you're not quite ready to ask yet, but you will be ready to ask in a week or so. And like I said, the foundation is a class that keeps changing my life over and over again. And I mainly facilitate it for myself because I know that it changes my life every time that I do it. And every time I receive it. So if you're ready for that, if you're ready for change in this 2024 that has just begun, and especially if you're ready to create something different with your relationships, whether you have a relationship already or not, you might actually want to invest in yourself and choosing the foundation in Sochi. And Sochi is so beautiful. So it doesn't matter if you're not in Sochi. I'm going from St. Petersburg, now in Moscow. I'm going back to St. Petersburg and then going to Sochi. And Sochi is wonderful because it's got plus degrees and it's by the sea and it's a beautiful city. So wherever you are in Russia, come and join me in Sochi. We'll enjoy 3.5 days together. How does it get any better than that? So more information, please contact one of my amazing team members that are on here as well, or send me a text, either in Telegram or Instagram or wherever you are, social media, or Yulia, you can ask her questions, and you can ask Maria as well.
The only question you can ask me is where to send money for the class.
That's it. You see, little manipulation there.
The last thing in the chat, which will be, I guess, really the last thing for this call.
Yes.
I always ask Andrea to make this free calls short, but he always gives the whole class. So
I have not given the whole class. There's so
Okay,
much more in the
hope.
foundation.
I hope so. So good relationship is a big job for both, isn't it?
Is it a job or is it fun? That's all I'm going to say.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm going to say.
Only
Come
if
to
it's
class.
a blow job.
It could be a blowjob, yes. And it could be something else. Everywhere you're limiting it to a blowjob, can we please destroy and uncreate it all? Right, wrong, good, bad, poor, poco, and actions, ways, pros, and beyonds. I'm inviting you to Sochi. I'm inviting you to have way more of these conversations. I'm inviting you to our year-long program. And I'm inviting you to come and spend some time with me in beautiful Sochi. How does it get any better than that? Thank you, beautiful you. Thank you for joining me on this call. Thank you for those of you that have registered for this class that did not participate live. There were over 160 people registered and there's 61 live on this call. So thank you for showing up and we'll send out the recording. Paka paka. And thank you, Yulia and Yulia, for translating. Thank you so much. And thank you, Maria, for hosting. And thank you to my wonderful team. Bye. See you soon, Sochi. See you soon, Russia.